knowledge. Thank you, Rohit, and thanks to the UiPath community, UiPath admin. Yes, thank you. Let me. So today's session is also so we already come across all the things like so orchestrator, REFramework, so variables, multiple sessions you all attended, right? So now we will see a small use case, very small use case. How can we automate a small use case by using the UiPath? Let me. So it's a small brief about me. So for that you should know who am I. Okay, so I'm working as a lead software engineer in EPM Systems Hyderabad, and having almost 12 plus years of experience in IT with different technologies like SSIS, .NET, SQL Server. I started my career as a .NET developer. Then, yeah, last almost 4 to 5 years onwards, I'm working in UiPath itself, UiPath tool. Okay, and so one of the first prizes, 2 times, almost to 2019, in the UiPath Power of Automation Hackathon in Bangalore, and again another first prize I won Tech Geek Code Gladiators UiPath Hackathon 2021. So recently, 2022 MVP UiPath MVP award I got, and this is my channel. So where I used to share my knowledge and yeah, that means creating the more experiments in the UiPath. So basically, so you can see the lot of magics and a lot of other things. So which that means so we can do the lot of stuff using the UiPath. It's not only the so wherever you have a that means manual, mundane, so repetitive tasks, so you can just automate. So even your personal works like a so sending the WhatsApp messages or I mean posting the multiple things in the Facebook, this and all. That is a YouTube channel. I just put in the chat window. And another thing is like so I created a channel like so botsgenie.com, so where we can just have the multiple uh, projects basically. Okay. So throughout my 5 years journey, so I come across like a multiple people contact. That means so I have a lot of. That means I got a lot of contact.
Sudhir, we lost you. Not sure if you're speaking.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello?
you're audible. Yep.
Yeah, I think something. 1 second. So. Okay, yeah. Is it fine? My voice is clear now?
It's a bit echo, but it's fine. You can continue. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
No worries, Sudhir. You can start. Yeah.
Let me connect because that is. Hello, is it fine now?
Yes, it is. Please continue.
Yeah. Yeah, clear, right? My voice. Yeah.
Yep. You please continue, Sudhir.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so so last 5 years onwards, I am across come across the multiple people. So asking the like so they are just they learn UiPath. So and way to practice. That's why I created this bots unit. That's what we are going to see. Today's project is a work anniversary. So basically, what is this project at all? So the project here. So let me go to the manual process. What the bots DNA. The bots, if you go to the botsdna.com, you can find multiple projects. And here today we are going to see the what is a work canvas. See, there is one organization, so where a lot of employees are there, almost so 5 lakhs employees are there. So the HR will open this page every day morning, and this page will show that day both annual, that means date of join. So that day date of join people. Okay, see, these are all the people. So employee ID, employee name, and manager ID. Okay, so all are that particular day they completed either 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, like that. Okay, that is the anniversary. So what we have to do? They will create a something like a so that email. So sending the email to the employee, CC to the manager, and these are all the informations. Like if you see the a body of the mail, so you can see the last line having the last X years. So these things and all we will configure. Okay, so how many years and what is the name? This is all. So let us see. Basically the human will take one employee ID and they will download the Excel basically where the email IDs are there. So this is the Excel, contains all the email IDs of the. Okay, so here is a, suppose for example, manually they will just search what is a. Okay, so this is the email name and this is the email ID. Okay, so let's see. So this is the email ID. So and again to send the CC, so because if you see the email template, so if you see that, so there is a two email ID and managed email ID. But where we will get the managed email ID? So for this person, this employee, this is the managed email ID. Again, has to go for the email search and get the email from here and keep into the CC. That is our project. So the robot has to loop each and every item one by one and send an emails. So let us see how we will do this one. Okay. So first of all, I'm just creating the REFramework. You already completed this REFramework, right? So work anniversary. So that is the project name. Work anniversary REF. Let's create. So before, so we will create another queue item. So we'll use a queues also here. I'm just creating a queue called work anniversary queue. Okay. So what we will do, so you understand, right? So that is there is a dispatcher and performer part in the actually REFramework, right? So we will keep the dispatcher part inside the init state itself. Okay, we will keep the dispatcher part in its state itself. Let us open the UiPath REFramework. And so we will write the steps. So first of all, first thing is a read all details from web. So it has to read all the details from the web. Okay, and create a new record. Okay, add to queue, orchestrator queue. That is the second part. So what is the first one? It has to read all the things on each record. It will create a new queue item in the orchestrator queue. The third is for each and every item, what it has to do. It has to, so first of all, we have to read this data table. Okay, this data table. Read the data table. Read. So before that, we'll just simply send an email. Okay. Get the number of days, number of years. How many number of years they completed? See here, this one. So how many years? So 1 year completed. Okay, so 2 years completed, like that. So okay, so based on the year, we have to subtract from the current year, and we will get the number of years. Okay, and the next thing is like a send an email. Okay, so to whom we have to send? So to whom we have to send? We have to send to the employee. To address is the employee 7. Manager address is a CC to manager. Okay. So before this, so we can design, create body of email and send an email to the employee. So these are all the steps. So let us do one by one using the RE framework. So within the RE framework, so I taken a plain blank RE framework. So let's go to the init state. Here, there is a one block called config is nothing. So within this, it will run only one time. So throughout the workflow, I'm just creating a one sequence called load data to the queue. Okay, load data to queue. So here I'm just creating a. So let's create a new folder here. The work anniversary. So as it is a work anniversary project, within this we will create a new workflow. So work anniversary. Select this folder and get today's work anniversary data. So what is the input for this? So input for this is a in underscore config. So okay, so maybe we can call this the that is a dictionary. So dictionary as a string and object. So because by default UiPath orchestrator REFramework follows this one, string and dictionary, and yeah. Yeah, so you can download the Excel. So you can download the Excel from here. So we downloaded already. And what we will do, so we will just, what is the first step? We have to read all the data from the web. So let us do it here. So we have to open browser. So the browser is like a, so set the browser type, Chrome. And what is the URL? So the URL is, I'm just directly using this URL. Instead of go to the bots DNA and click on the, instead of click activity, so try to use the navigate, that means so the full path of the work anniversary. Let us see here. We have a config Excel, right? Config Excel. Otherwise, you can use the assets as well. Let us use the assets. Go to the assets and create an asset. This is a URL. Okay. So once you create an asset, you have to put this asset into the config file. Let's go to the data, open the config file. So config file contains the settings, constants, and assets. In the assets, create a okay. Now we are using this asset name, the config name here, instead of hard code. So because tomorrow, if the URL is changed, what will happen? So we can simply use, we can simply change the value into the asset itself instead of into the workflow. So once we open workflow, so what is the next step? Next step is like, so you can maximize. And so use some data scrapping activity to scrap the data. I'm selecting any cell of this table. So because it is a tabular format data, seems like a HTML table. I just click on the yes, because it predicted that is a HTML table. Now, why is this breaking? Keeping the 0 because it requires the entire data.
whatever the data is there. So whole data we need. Click on the finish, and we don't have a data in the multiple pages. That's why we just click on the no. Okay. Now we got the extraction data table. So what we can do, so we can just convert this into the in a variable argument. So this is like a out argument, out work anniversary data. So just make sure that so the out direction, and that is a data table. So what we will do, so this workflow, the sub workflow, basically a piece of the code will take the input as a in config and output as a data table. Then we can close the tab. We don't need the tab, right? We don't need the tab. Just using the close tab, once we get the data, so we'll close the browser. So we don't need that browser at all. Okay. Now, let us call workflow into our initialization state. Okay. So I'm just dragging here, pass the variables as we are in the main, it's the config, and here DTBL WA data. That is a data table or data table, and we can use a bulk data table. There is a queue, so we can use an add queue item, or there is a bulk add queue items activity. So if you have a data in the data table, multiple rows are there. If you want to upload those data into the orchestrator queue, you can use the bulk add queue items. Just drag and drop and give the queue name. So what is the queue name here? This is a queue name, and so let's go to the queues. This is the queue name. Any transitions are there? Okay, no transitions are there. What we will do, we will just update the queue name here in the config. There is an asset. So in the settings sheet, you can have a orchestrator queue name. It's already used in the UiPath REFramework. So just update your queue name here in the value side. Then once you update, use the same queue name. So this bulk add queue items is required. The queue name here, config of queue name or toString. And what is the data table? The data table is the output of this data table, DTPL WA data, by passing to the bulk add queue item. So what will happen in initial stage itself? The dispatcher part is done. The dispatcher part is like so it is a dispatching all the items from the web. That means all the work anniversary related information for each employee in the sense today's work anniversary employees, it will add into the queue. So we've done these two steps. Next thing is get the number of years. So we're not touching any workflow in any state, so only the process. Let's go to the process and process.workflow. Here we will get a transaction item. Transaction item means each transaction item is like so if you have a items, so within the multiple items are there in the queue, that each one is a one transaction item. So within the transaction item, let us just display the one blog message. Information in underscore transaction item. Transaction item is, it is like a queue item. So his voice is breaking still.
Just sometimes, Sudhir. Otherwise, it's okay. It's fine. Yeah, you can continue. No, it's not an internet issue. Yeah, you can continue. Yeah. Sudhir, you can continue.
Hello?
It's okay. Yeah, we can hear.
Hello? Sorry.
We can hear. Yeah, Sudhir. Sudhir, you're audible.
I'm unable to unmute.
Just 1 second. Yes, you can try now.
Yeah, thank you. Now, is it audible clearly?
Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry for the.
No worries.
It's
You can go ahead.
all the
Yeah.
network issues. So outside it's raining.
Sudhir,
yeah.
before you continue, there are a few questions on the chat. Maybe we can scroll a little up.
Yeah.
What is the difference between add queue items and bulk add queue items?
Yeah, so add queue item, so we can add a single item. Okay, so normally if you see the add queue item, queues, add queue item. So what we have to do, so we have to pass what is the queue name and the parameters collection we have to pass here, the information like the name, right? Name, age, like that. We have to pass. It will add a single item into the queue. Okay. But the bulk add queue items, suppose for example, just imagine, for example, you have 100 records, you are looping each and every record from the data table using the for each row data table and adding the items to the queue using the add queue item. But instead of that, so there is a easy way UiPath provided a single activity where if you pass a data table as input and the queue name is the input, it will create automatically all the items from the data table to the queue. Whatever the number of records are there in the data table. So if it's 1,000 or 2,000, it will create in one shot. It will reduce a lot of time. That is the difference between the add queue item and bulk add queue item. Is there any other questions?
No, you can continue.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, now let us see. So we can just simply create a so in transaction item dot specific content of. So what is basically a field name? Suppose for example, this is a name, employee name. So I'm just giving this name, employee name, to string process, or we can keep this one into the before process started for employee, this employee. Okay, this will just give the small log message. A process ended, so we can just give the ended at the end. Okay, ended for this employee. Okay. Got it. So within this, so what we have to do? So now up to now, so what we done? So we just extracted the data from this page, all the employees details who are having the work anniversary today, and we will keep the upload into the queue. That's it. So we have to do for individual line. That means each employee, what we have to do. Okay, so for each employee, the third point is like get the number of years, because the number of years is totally different from each and every employee. Okay, so how can we get the number of employees, number of years? So what is the anniversary years? We can just current year minus this year. Okay, if we just use the current year minus this year, it will get the number of years for that. So create one variable, number of years. So this number of years, and also create another variable. So where you can keep the date of join. Okay. So I'm just keeping the, now we are working for the single record because we are in the process. When you are in the process.xaml, you have to think like a, so what we have to do for the single transaction item. Okay. Date of join. The date of join, I'm just keeping in the data table. Data type is a date type. Date type. Okay. So this is the date of join. So how can we get the date of join? So assign the date of join into the in_transaction item. Okay. And copy this field, specific content. In_transaction item dot specific content, because that is a, just imagine that is a queue item, and give the, so let me open this bigger. Okay. In_transaction item, that is a whole queue item. So if it's an in_transaction item, you can simply observe this is a one record. Okay, one record, each record at a time. So specific content of that particular column, the cell basically. Okay. This will give a string variable. But what we need, so because see here, so there is an error because the date of join is a what type? It is a date type. But we're giving the toString. That's why it is showing error. So we have to convert that string to a date using the cDate. cDate is a method. Okay, cDate is a method. Okay. So cDate is a convert date. So it will convert into the date variable. Now number of years. So just imagine number of years is equal to now. Now means it will come the today's date. Now dot year, that is the integer. You can see the integer output minus date of join dot years. So this will give the number of years, and I'm converting into the toString to append into the body of the mail. So let us take the now. Let us take the something like a HTML. So right now, mail activities. It's not. So the third one is also done. So we are able to get the number of years. So then we will create a beautiful body of the mail to wish the that mean award, like a so work anniversary award, and send an email to these two people, employee and manager. So let us see. So first of all, we will just use the small dummy email, and we will test. Then we will just get a corresponding email for that particular employee. Okay, so let us go here and create a HTML content. Create a HTML content. So within this HTML content, I created a, that means so there is some text I kept here. The text of looks like this one. Okay. Okay, so let us create here all our center, and this is like a an employee name. We will use some variables. Here I'm just giving the suppose for example our company is a let's imagine, so there is a one str or company name. I'm keeping here company name. Okay. Okay, this company name we will use inside this. How can you get? So use the another variable, create another variable str company name, and this is like a in_, so config of that key dot toString. Okay. You will get the company name. So then you have to use that company name here. You just add the single values or company name, and here just use the variable like a str company name, and you can use that company name here. Use a bigger one. Change the colors if you want, and here also there is a company name. Wherever the variables are there, use this one. Okay, company name, and here is the employee name is there. So how can we get the employee name? Take the another variable str employee name, str employee name. So if you go to here, this is a specific content. Same thing like so. How we are doing? So in underscore transaction item dot specific content of the content which you need. It will store into the str employee name. So we have to use this str employee name inside the body. So how can we get? So we can just simply go to the add data values and map the values, add the single value employee name. So you can use anything str employee name, enter. Okay. So here you can use employee name. Okay. And if you want to change the color, employee name. And here is the number of years. Okay, X years, right? Number of years. So what we'll do, we'll just use the same map, a single value, NO of year, NO of Y, and so use the number of years. Is there any number of years? Is there number of years variable is there? Okay, use that. Here, last number of years. Keep the cursor and press last number of years. Okay. Okay. So now let's click save, and this will give the HTML body. Keep into the variable. So store into the variable and use something like a send Outlook mail or any mail you have to send. And I'm just using the subject. So you could just use the work anniversary. And if you want to keep the employee name, happy str employee name, happy work anniversary, str employee name, comma, happy work anniversary, and the thing. So HTML body. Okay. Let us try to execute. Okay, so I'm just using some message box. First, we will check whether I'm just to stop this one. Stop. Okay. Let us try to run up to here. So whether the bot is executing properly or not, because we have to integrate this work anniversary Excel also. Let us try to run. It's open. The robot opened the website and extract. Now it is extracting the data from the page, tabular HTML tabular format data, using the data scrapping. Then, yeah, let us see. Let us go to our queue and check whether we will get the. See, we got almost. Yeah, see, all 100, nearly 100 items are there. So in the queue, so see the queue. So this is a queue, our queue. Okay, so we have 50 items. Okay,
you go to here and check any one of the workflow. So these are all the employee ID, employee name, manager ID. So where these fields are coming? These fields are coming directly from these titles. Okay. So because we use the data, that means so bulk add queue item, right? So directly it will take from the columns from the data table. Now we have a multiple items. Okay. Now it has to iterate each and every item. Let us filter in progress. One is in progress because 1 minute ago, so it is taken the information like a the name. So you can see the how many years are there. Let's log into my Gmail, whether it sends an email or not. Let us check. Yeah, we got an email. See here, the first email, we got an email. Okay. The name, so that's what, so we designed here, right? So the process, we go to the process, and we design employee name, comma, happy anniversary, birthday name. That's what we got the subject. If you open the, open the subject, so it is giving the HTML content. Okay. So what we have to keep, we have to, let me stop, and we have to check a property called is HTML body. Okay, is HTML body, because we are using the create HTML content that will produce the HTML body of the mail. And if you want to populate that HTML body, you have to check this one, is HTML body. So let us try to run again. It's not closing, so let us remove this mail and we will check. It's open. It's open and extracted and close the browser. That's it. And if you see in progress, maybe it is having the 2 in progress. Let us stop using the message box. Yeah, you see the status. We have a 2. A few seconds ago, that is a new one. Okay, that is a new one. Okay, let us go to the mails and check. So whether we got a mail, right? We got a mail for that particular employee Mohan. Okay, see here the Mohan and see the HTML content. Okay, but what happened? So these things are all not replaced. That's what we observed, and also we observed that 1 year. See here, last 1 year we observed, because what is the year? 2021. He joined June 16th, and that's why it is a 1 year anniversary. And why these things are all not updated? Let us see. Let us fix that issues. Go to this process. Here, the company came. Yeah, company came here. Maybe because of employee. Yeah. Because it is that slash curly braces also we have to keep format. Okay. Okay. So let us see now. Yeah, it will come. It will come. So what we will do? So we will just complete the remaining part. The remaining part is like, so we have to identify who is the what is the employee email ID and what is the manager email ID for that particular employee. Okay. So let us see. So the other thing is like, so here itself in the init stage itself, we will read the data. Okay. So using the read range activity, These things and also you already come across, right? Excel application scope and read range. And what is the data? So you have to read these ones, copy as a path. Okay, and this is a path of the Excel. If you go to the Excel, what is the sheet name of the Excel? As a sheet one only. Okay, so keep the sheet one only and create a data table here. Okay, so work anniversary data. Okay, so something like that, work anniversary data or employee data. Instead of that, employee email data. Okay, so it's the employee email data. That is a data table, and I'm just making that as a higher scope. Okay, so if you see, this is a hard coded value. So you should not hard code any value into the workflow. Maximum you have to create assets or keeping into the config file. Let us go to the config file. So otherwise you can create an asset. Go to the assets and create an asset with a name. This is a path, because tomorrow this path may change. Create a single value, remove the double quotes, and this is a employee email Excel path. Okay, this is an employee email Excel path. So what we done? We created the assets. So what is the next step we have to do? We have to go to the config file and go to the asset sheet. Copy that asset. Okay, so you can mark differently this name, but this should match with the asset. Suppose, for example, employee database. So, okay, see employee database. So, but whatever you are giving into the name field, so that variable, that name you have to use in the throughout the workflow using the config sheet, config that's dictionary. See here, config of this one. Okay, see .toString. So we're not giving the asset name here. We're giving the name of the okay, so name of the assets, and this asset name should be matched with the asset name which you are providing here. So what will happen if we call the config? First of all, it will refer this one. Then it will refer the asset name. Then it will refer the actual value. Okay, so that is the benefit of the assets. Now, once we read the data and keep into the data table called employee email data, we will pass this employee email data to the process. So to pass any variable or any data to the inside the workflow, you should have the argument. Okay, we're passing from outside to inside. That's where it is a in argument. Employee email data. Okay, that is the in, and what is the data type? Data table. So go to the main, go to the process and pass that particular variable. That's the employee email data. So what we done up to now? So we read the data from the work anniversary.xlsx in the init state and kept it to the employee data, employee email data variable, and we pass that into the process. In the process. So let us see here. Create one more variable called str employee ID. So okay, so you have employee ID, and create another variable called str manager ID. So because employee ID and manager ID we will get from bots DNA. Okay, we'll get from here. So this is a source based on the employee ID, based on the manager ID. We have to identify what is the email ID for that. Okay, so here, so what is the approach? So the same thing. So go to the value. What is this? This is the email ID, employee ID. In underscore transaction item dot specific content. and dot toString. So here, if you go to the queues and check the queue name, any one transaction, just open any one transaction. Take the any one transaction here. This is a field name, the specific content of this one. Okay, specific content of this one. It will store into that particular variable. Do the same thing for manager ID. In underscore transaction item dot specific content of the content, the field. So which field you want? This is a field, manager ID dot toString. So now what will happen? So we stored these two, so employee ID and manager ID, and also we have a data, the whole data. See, the whole data is available. So what we will do, we will use a filter data table on the employee ID. Then we will identify that particular record. Within that record, we can identify that particular email ID. Okay. So let us go and do it. So what we will do, so while sending, so we have to identify, see, we have to find two things. One is a str to email or employee email ID. That is a one. The other thing is a CC str manager email ID. Okay. These two values we need. Okay. One is a employee email ID and manager email ID. But here, so we don't have a separate thing for the manager. Manager also one of the employee. Okay, this is the employee email data. The manager also one of the employee. We know the manager ID, so that we can find the manager email ID from this sheet. Okay, so let us use the something like a one data table filter data table activity. So filter data table activity. So to filter the data table like a what is that data table? In underscore employee email data, and output is like a so is marked as a DTBL single employee data. So this is the output. And what is the configuration? The configuration is the name of the column, right? The name of the column is left side and is equal to and str employee ID. Okay, this will give the employee ID. Okay, so employee ID is record. This will give the employee ID is a record. Suppose, for example, if it will filter basically. Okay. So it's like it will filter this record. Okay. So single record. Got it. So okay, single record it will filter. So then, so within this single record, because see here, what is there? So in the DTBL single employee data having the single record. So just check using the if condition. If DTBL single employee dot rows dot count is equal to 1, because it should be a 1 only. Okay, it should be 1. So otherwise it should be 1. Otherwise we will throw the exception. Okay, so if it's a more than 1 or 0, then throw the exception. What is that? Throw the exception. You can throw a business exception or employee email ID not found in employee database. This is a business exception. Got it. Now, if it is equal to 1, we got the employee ID. So what we will do, we'll just create a one variable str. So that is we already having that one, right? Employee ID. So drag this one. So this is a data table, right? Data table dot rows. How many rows are there? Single row. Okay. See, it is a single row. Single row means, so what is the index? It is a 0. Rows of 0. Okay. So let us write the code here. Rows of 0. And what is the column name? The column name which we want to extract. This is a column name. Okay. So within that single row, we need the email ID dot toString. Got it? So we got the employee email ID. So what is the next things we have to do? We have to do the other one. So the same things where I'm just copying and pasting. Copy paste instead of str manager ID. Okay, so first we pass the employee str email employee ID. Now it is a manager ID. Okay, extract and do the same thing instead of this manager. And in the throw also you can mention manager, or so the same thing is also enough. So the manager, or okay, you can just pass the employee, because manager also one of the employee, right? So we got what do we got? So we got the manager employee ID to keep into the CC, and we got the employee email ID. So manager email ID and employee email ID, we got these two to keep into the that particular record. So it's a just getting for that particular record. Okay. So let us use those email IDs instead of hard code. So you can just use a str employee email ID and go to the properties. There is a CC. Use the str manager email ID. Okay. Got it? So now let us remove this one. And our workflow is ready. I'm just closing, and let's recreate the queue. And so let's clear. Yeah, Excel. Let's run the bot. So I'm just creating a queue again by deleting this queue. So because 100 items are there. So just create a fresh queue, okay, which does not have any values, okay, any transaction items, okay. So see the out inbox. So we don't have any mails, and let's run the bot. What the bot will do? The bot will open first of all in the init state itself the dispatcher part. That means it will open the bot's DNA work anniversary website. It will extract the information and it will upload everything into the orchestrator queue by just using the belt add queue item activity. Yeah, it's opened. So it is extracting the HTML tabular format data, and it read the. So what is the next step? So they read the employee email information, employee database. So I'm just opening the multiple emails so that we can monitor. What is so because I use multiple email IDs for just show the demo. Okay, let us check so whether we got the orchestrator queue items or not. Okay, we got the queue items. Okay, and if you see the any output panel, just observe the output panel. So any errors or that. So it's almost 9 items completed. Okay, so you can see the logs also. See, this is a sorted. UMC is the process started for the UMC, process ended for the UMC. Got it. Let us check. So is there any email we got? Yeah, here we got one email. Okay, let us see. Just open this email. We got the name. Got it. So we got the name and the everything. So wherever it's a 3 years. Why is it 3 years? If you see, yeah, it's a 3 years ago, right? 3 years ago, the same day he joined. And let us go to the other. Yeah, here we got a multiple. How many years? 12 years. 12 years ago. See here, 12 years ago he joined. Okay. Just copy, just for verification. Okay. Okay. See, 12 years, 2010. So he joined. And if you go to the another mail, 13 years. And just check. So is there any other mails? Yeah. We are getting the mails. Okay. 5 years ago. Okay. 5 years ago. So everything is a dynamic. So it will calculate the how many years based on the date of joining, and it will just create the dynamic HTML body, email body, and send to the. So if you see here, so you can see the 2cc. So also you can see the 2cc for this person. So just we open this one here. See, this is the employee ID. The employee ID, that is a, what is that? Sports shop. And what is the manager ID? The manager ID is this one for that. Yeah, this is the manager ID. That is a robot for every kid. So if you see this mail, robot for every kid is a CC because that is a manager. Okay. And sports shop is a to address. Let's see the queues. The queues, it is see, these are all the success mails and all. Okay, success queue items. So this is a REFramework. So we build a, and also we got some more some messages. Outlook. There's a something like it's timed out. Okay. Somewhere we got the a system exceptions. So Outlook is not responding. Okay. So that is a system exceptions. If you see here, errors failed. Failed ones. See here, these are all the failed ones. So why it is a fail? Because employee ID. What is the why it is a fail? It's business exception. See here, we wrote the business exceptions. If the employee ID is not available, then it is saying that employee ID of email ID for that particular employee is not available in the. So we got that exceptions, and in progress. So if you are in progress, and if you go to the new, multiple almost new are there. So this is about our project. So let it run, and while it is running, we can see some questions. And so here is a demo, and then yeah. So I am done, Rohit. If you want me to do the assignment.
Just 1 minute before that. Just for everyone's reference, I am just posting the link for capturing the attendance. So please fill this form. This form will be active until the session is over. So please make sure that you fill it. Please just fill for yourself. Don't do any proxies. So that is pretty much it. It's the same form as yesterday. So in the full name, please make sure that you keep your answer consistent so that it is easier for us to process the name on the certificate. Email ID just to track your attendance back to the other sessions, and the LinkedIn profile just to have a look at some of your submissions. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Sudhir, you can go ahead with the assignment part. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the assignment. So there is in the bots DNA itself. So if you go to botsdna.com, you have one project called virtual plots. So within the virtual plots, this is a virtual plots is a assignment. You have to build a robot using the UiPath REFramework. Use the REFramework and this each transaction item. So download the Excel. The steps is here. Download the Excel. Input Excel. You can download just by click on the Excel. And if you open the Excel contains the input details. The Excel contains the input details like so the information, who is the buyer, who is the seller, this is not okay. You just keep your email IDs. So for just testing, okay, for just testing, you just keep your email IDs. Here the thing is, so you have to fill this information, the transaction number or booking number. Okay. So what the robot has to do? Robot has to take the seller number. And seller number, the robot has to clean up the numbers because if you see the numbers here, it starts with a 0, starts with a +91 space. So robot has to check if it's a +91, see +91 hyphen, it has to remove. +91 space, see here, +91 space, it has to remove. Because why it has to remove? Because from the website, we have a names. But in the Excel, input Excel does not have a names. How can we know who is the buyer and who is the seller? Only by using the mobile numbers. But here in the web, mobile numbers are the cleaned mobile numbers. It does not have any country codes or any 0 in the sorting. That's why a robot has to pick each and every record and clean the numbers for the buyer mobile number and seller number. Then, so for example, I will tell you, I will just show you for one. Okay, this is a seller, right? This is a seller. So we have a column called seller and buyer. So search for this phone number. This is the phone number we got. This is a seller. Just check this one. And who is the buyer for this? This is a buyer. Control F, search. This is a buyer. So that particular radio button you have to check. So 2 radio buttons which we check. Next, what is the plot number? The plot number here. And what is the square feet? Then after filling this information, the robot has to click on the booking number. Just copy the booking number and paste in the wizard of that one. Got it? So that is again go back and do the same thing for that. So not only the filling the information for each and every record, it has to send an email. So see, this is a PDF. Okay. So how it looks like the virtual plot book. See here. This email body contains a tabular format data. Wherever you see there is a yellow colored one, that is a dynamically it has to populate. And also if you see the I2 address, that's the buyer email ID and seller email ID. Those email IDs coming from this input Excel. Okay. And then, so the booking number, buyer name, seller name, buyer name coming from this one. So here is the name. So you have to find what is the name of the buyer, what is the name of the seller from the website. Then you have a phone numbers and the booking number. Okay. So the robot has to send this kind of an email output. Okay. That is so upload the booking numbers and send an email. Okay, basically. Send email, okay, to the buyer and the seller. So and also post post this in the LinkedIn using the hashtags like a UiPath community and RPA Kickstarter. Yeah, that's it. And these are all the learning references. So you have a this is basically my YouTube channel link, and this is the what's the link. The Academy, UiPath Academy. If you go to the UiPath Academy, there is a lot of courses are available in the UiPath, so you can just learn. And yeah, these are all the LinkedIn profile. Paste. Yeah, questions and answers. So we'll take the few questions. So do we need to set the size of the internal table for the activity? Since John Rao is asking, so do we need to set the size of the internal table for this activity? So since the bulk, so we'll capture entire data, right? So would you like to, basically there is no limitation. So John, so the bulk add queue item, so it will just, you can just pass the, what is the data table if you want to add to the orchestrator queue. So, and what is the queue name? And another question, so how to check if the extracted data is already present in the queue or not to avoid the duplicates? Okay, this is a good question. Okay, Muralidharan is asking, so how to avoid the duplicates? Because if you run the same bot, what will happen? So this will add the one more set of the data, right? One more, so whether it's a 50 or 100, one more set of the data. So for that, what we can do, we can create a queue with the unique reference. There is a enforced unique reference. Create a queue with the enforced unique reference, then it won't add you to the, it won't allow you to the add duplicates. Okay, but there is another question, right? So what is the difference between the bulk add queue item and add queue item? So if you see the add queue item, the reference is also another one. Okay, add queue item. You have a column called reference. Okay, so reference field. Okay, so if your queue is a unique reference queue, you cannot use the bulk add queue item. That is a one key point. Okay, in interviews also they will ask what is the difference between the add queue item and bulk add queue item. The first difference is using the bulk add queue item, you can't add the reference. Okay, so wherever you don't have a reference queue, then you can use a bulk add queue item. So if you want to use the bulk add, if you want to use a unique reference, then you must go with the add queue item only. So that is the one difference. Can we check that? So the transaction details already existed in the queue. Yeah, Vinay is asking, so can we check the items within the queue? So we can check, because here get queues, you have a get queue items. The get queue items, you can filter here. You can filter what is the statuses. If you want to get all the in progress items, or failed items, success items, or abandoned, right, retried, or all the new items you can just get. So you have to provide the what is the status and what is the queue name here, queue name, and you will get the output as a I enumerable of queue items. So it is mainly used for doing the reporting. How many success? How many still in new state? How many failed? So to do the such kind of things, you can use a get queue items activity. Yeah, Krishnan asked it's like a, so it's a most of the content is free in YouTube channel. So my YouTube channel and bots really. Okay. And, is it possible for bot to move to initiation in case of business exception? Okay, so basically there is a one question we are seeing in the chat window. is it possible for bot to move to initial stage in case of business exception? So the business results, why we have to go to the initialization state? So it's a business exception. Okay, so you can connect easily. Okay, so if you want, you can connect. It's not like a from the this is a business exception, right? This is a business exception. You can connect simply like this. Okay, but so the thing is, the business is telling that if this is a case, fail that record. Don't proceed. Okay, so system exceptions will go to the initialization state, and it will just clean up all the things like so close the browsers and reopen all the browsers or applications and do the retry the system exceptions. It's not like a business exception. Business itself it is saying that it's a business exception. Okay, yeah, that's it. Anything.
Yeah, I think we are good. Anyone, if you still have any questions, you can connect with Sudhir on LinkedIn. If it is not particularly related to this topic, and if you have still questions around the previous conversations or previous sessions that we have already had, please do post it on forum.uipath.com. And that is pretty much it. Hope everyone has already filled in that form where we are looking for attendance. Please do not duplicate your response. If you already done it, that's good enough. And I think that is a wrap for the day. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Tomorrow will be the last day. It will be very important for you to join. It's not really a technical session. It will be a much more around how to really become an RPA developer in terms of how to create a platform or how to position yourself as an RPA developer in the industry or in the community. That is going to be a very important session by Rahul from JPMC. So really looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you, Sudhir, for your time and for your for all the efforts that you have put in. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
There's one question, Sudhir. Maybe you can answer before going.
Yeah.
When
we check the unique references in queue, so do we need to write descriptive as well? Yeah, so basically when you declare so configure the queue is a unique reference, you have to pass while you are using the add queue item, so you have to pass the unique content. So by mistakenly, if you pass a duplicate content, it won't allow to add. So it will throw the error. So, understand? It will throw the error. It won't allow you to add the new. That is a unique reference kind of thing. Yeah. That's it.
I think that is good. So thank you all. See you all tomorrow at the same time. Hope please do make sure that you stay in track with the flow of the program. So thank you, Sudhir. Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Yeah. See you. Good night.